Hello and welcome to Sarah Fox Media, and this na your current update. The National Disaster Management Agency na a body where government give power and strength through the Act of Parliament for first disaster problems them like mudslide, flooding, fire disaster and boku other one them where they destroy life and property na the country. The National Disaster Management Agency don't they look inside them problem then yaso ever since then come into existence. Salone na a country where don't they face issues then normally like fire disaster, flooding and mudslide. Just inside this year 2023 January, the country don't begin record disaster problems them. So now seka that make we can visit the National Disaster Management Office for talk to the Director of Communication for tell we how they don't they put things in place for tackle then issue there. So we don't already start inside this year.
Thank you. My name is Mohammed Elba. I'm the Director of Communications at the National Disaster Management Agency. Well, the National Disaster Management Agency is an agency we established by an Act of Parliament, and previously it was under the Office of National Security (ONS). But during the 2018 elections, where the current president, His Excellency retired Brigadier General Manabio, with the campaign, he actually been promised the people of this country that if he win, he will establish, a standalone agency for manage disaster-related matters in the country, because of the kind way the county, and of course there are several reports both home and abroad where they indicate that Sierra Leone is the third, country vulnerable to disasters, and because of the severity and the repeated occurrence, of course, of major disasters. The mudslide now one, it will be plenty flooding that will happen as Sierra Leone will displace hundreds of people, hundreds or thousands of people. Make the president being really thought and fit important for the globe. We get a standalone agency where they manage disaster-related issues in the country. And where he win in 2018, the process been start, and that on the 19th of November 2020. They launched this agency in our State House. The organogram of the agency, now, we design them in such a way that we're able to cater for every aspect, all the disaster management cycle, according to best international practice. We're able to cater from according to an organogram of the agency. We get the Directorate of Disaster Risk Reduction and Preparedness. We then there for identify disasters them across the country, and we're able for address them as soon as possible. We get the directorate we're responsible for relief and response. We then because some disasters and we can go beyond we control. We can occur no matter the systems that we put in place. Some they will are natural disasters, then can occur. So the director we're responsible for make sure say they go do assessment, and they will know the affected population, the area, the type of fire, what caused the disaster and stuff like that. Then that assessment can normally inform the type and level of response we can do to them people and they. So then you understand. We also get the Director of Monitoring and Evaluation, where instead they keep track of all the activities there, and always they go monitor for make sure say after we don't respond, they do in the recovery stage. What are the impact of a response to the lives of the people and they keep records of them and even with risk reduction activities. You understand? Instead, you always go keep track of their activities and look at how we worked on the impact, the reduction of disasters in Sierra Leone, and keep track of all of them. Side how to go monitor and always draw your attention back to the gaps them with the areas them according to before we respond how the situation may be, and after we respond how the situation may be, and before we intervene for do a risk reduction activity for reduce the hazards, how the situation may be, and after we respond how the situation is. So all of them monitoring systems and they in place for make sure say we're able for draw your attention to some of the gaps them where they follow we close them to the lowest minimum. We don't succeed as an agency for able for look at the patterns how then disasters can occur. from that, we don't draw up a disaster hazard calendar. You understand? So now, since we start to operate, we don't look at the various patterns, how then disaster can happen, the period when it can happen, within some of the causes, and all of that. So we're able to develop a hazard calendar, and that calendar then are the inform and a very predictable. Because since they established the agency, we don't study the various patterns and how and when, then disasters can occur. Say for instance, I tell you say now from January to March, we can experience plenty fires. You understand? Across the country, or specifically inside the city, now Freetown also. Even though at some point it can roll out throughout the year, we can experience some minor fires, but specifically from January to March, we can experience more fires, and especially urban fires and back. Then we also get fires that we can happen as a result of them people we can make farm bushfires. We can also get them. We don't begin record boku of the now safe na the northern region. We would find way now for devise a strategy how go for conscientizing people and for letting know how to manage them bushfires them. You understand? Because now the source of livelihood and then of course also we get other fires and we mainly because like in 2022 over 70% of the fire incident that we record in our western area now, I would say associated with electrical fires. Let's just put it that way. It is not as a result of the current way at Sadegi, but it's as a result of the fact that from your assessment and from admissions from people that we reside in them communities and that people actually they do electricity abstraction. Some people they hire the services of unprofessionals, people that will not get the expertise for do electrical installations, and also people that mainly can use substandard electrical appliances. Then the one way common, very, very common, are the fact that 10, 15, 20 people connect to 1 meter. And most times, good. And EDSA don't advise against that. And most people can use heavy appliances because now thief current, there is no breaker to regulate the current where they come inside. Or at some point, some people can use breakers and way sometimes the appliances and way they use them power it far outweigh the breaker way they sometimes like you get like 15 circuit breaker. You will use iron glues, you will use electricity heater, you put this on, you freeze every other thing on, and they outweigh the breaker and the breaker they burn. And most times certain things they happen, the people are not in dinner house. So now they don't account for plenty fires for 2022. So we plan now that even though we don't conscientizing people them na the various communities and because like anytime we will respond, we are not just going to go there and give them relief items and stuff like that. We also do get big megaphones and they tell them say this fire don't happen, but we no go on for kaya again for can help now because we na emergency situation. We can develop fine messages and okay before talk to them relating to that incident when happened and the cause for them able to avert and make sure that they take precautionary measures. So if they rebuild, they no go get that kind of fire or that kind of Sure. We actually currently meet with EDSA, because we don't draw their attention to them situations and for the fact that plenty fire incident then relates to electrical fires and for the reasons that I just stated earlier. We continue with engagement with EDSA and we are coming up very strong for make sure the risk reduction directorate now, the comms directorate now, and their own comms directorate with some technical people and they let we before meet and get a common ground. Also, we before come up with a strategic plan for make sure we before go into the communities and do effective.
So you're working with the police and also.
Yeah, the police, city council. We have always been working together. Okay. Because city council then get mandate, for provide leadership for the city, for the municipality. So then get your own, internal structures, for managing institutions. You understand. But we all mandate a cut across now for the entire country. While they all managers for Freetown. So we have been collaborating a lot. Most of the time then they attend with coordination meetings and working on getting big disasters they always come. We all work together for make sure say we able to deliver for the people of this country. So in terms of collaboration, we get plenty other MDAs that we collaborate with. For example, we do a survey for determine the filling stations that we operate within the required standard. You understand? We do across the country because certain filling station then certain standards them we then supposed for adhere to for letting operate as a filling station. You look at the wall height in case fire broke out, how much the wall will contain for crossover to people that are really around. You talk about whether they get fire extinguishers, whether the people that really operate at the filling station get the required knowledge in the event of a fire incident for put out the fire and waiting for do, whether they get systems in place, who's exit for day, whether they get enough, sign languages and for show people them who sign for go, sign up for go and stuff like that, you understand? So we'll do that report and present them to the Petroleum Regulatory Agency, PRA. Then get the mandate now, we'll put two recommendations and then get the mandates now for make sure so then follow up with that. Because that is part of risk reduction, mandates now for, raise the alarm, draw the attention of relevant stakeholders or authorities to that particular stuff. So then go act. You understand? Most times we can jointly act together. In 2022, we record more fire incidents, in 2022. Over 70% of the disasters or the incident that we record, relates to fire. Fire, you understand? So that is one thing we, predominantly come out, and we also be record 2 sea accidents then because then they also fall within mandate. The fire incident and 392 fire incident that we record in 2022. Road accidents, we're not fully able to track the total number of road accidents because we still wait to get that data from SLRSA, you understand? But we record quite a few of them, and those are the we don't record any more slide because the one who been record now, Eastern, there's a place behind this Kissy mental home, where 5 people even die. Now slope collapse, you understand? That is not a more slide. But plenty of people don't see a more slide. That was a slope collapse. So we record 5 deaths that day. And of course we also be on to get some wall collapse. Plenty of people don't know they build high walls them and then they put several dirty under before they build the walls. And say most time like behind Spur Road, you get high building and that we then get very high retaining walls. And beneath, you get other structures within it. So we can get few of the incident that we saw get slope wall collapse with for dome on top of the house and with the beneath, then walls and it will lead to fatalities also. You understand? Yeah, sure. So we those were the specific categories of disasters and flooding. The reason why I don't want to talk too much about flooding and the fact that yes, indeed, we record floodings every year, you understand. But if, now the issue is these are people residing in these areas, you understand, even though they know say every year them places are the flood, but they are not living voluntarily. Fine. The problem is the intricacies we hover around relocation, for example, are very, very difficult. You understand? You get human rights implications. These are Sierra Leoneans. You just can't remove them from where they are at the moment, and you need to provide an alternative for them. You understand? That's not the catch. And what you get now that the people then will candy back. You understand? Not the first time this government in government out don't they make an attempt for relocate people within our slum communities. I'm coming. So what we really think about now, is to ensure. Thankfully, a couple of days back, like the 2017 victims, we been suffered the mudslide. A 2017 mudslide, we been suffer. The survivors will be get some Sierra Leone indigenous we been come together and build some housing units for them now mile 6. You understand? 52 housing units, and then where we get up to 68 households where they reside in our camp there at the moment, And from 2017 to date, not only a couple of days back, now we will launch the construction of a market, a hand-dug well, solar panel, and of course also with some direct cash transfer for letting people that they will live a better life and sustain their livelihoods. So they are relocated, but outside the factory, then outside the Leiden head, every other thing has been challenged for them. They don't have school, they don't have other basic, they don't have a health center, they don't get police station around it and everything. You understand? So the good thing is that we don't identify, 206 acres of land in that same area. So now we work with the Sierra Leone Housing Corporation for able for do proper survey and able for demarcate that place there. And with the hope that in the not too distant future, we go for reach out to partners and we go for make sure say if we go for get funding for build housing units and see how we go for relocate them people in there. You understand? That's now we own permanent plan that we are working towards at the moment. But again, that decision will not be left in the hands of NDMA alone. You understand? Because there's a government and we are an institution. And that decision has to be a top-bottom approach. Because we cannot just take upon ourselves to go and relocate when we will not get a better relocation plan for these people. So if you see say yes there are floods and they are affected by floods every year. It is not because we are reluctant to remove them. It is because of these issues that I've explained. But we are working on a permanent solution for them. Yes, 2023 moving forward, we hope for continue with risk reduction activities, and mostly the reason why make people can see with risk reduction activities now because when we prevent the disaster from happening, people don't get to know about it. But we have done a lot of risk reduction activities in Sierra Leone. You understand? And we hope for continue to do more. We hope that in 2023 we don't reach out to partners for more support, for increase the capacity of the institution. You understand? Capacity building wise, and of course also equipment wise. We are challenged, we don't get better motocadem at the moment, and we staff level, they up, you understand, to that amount or number we will want, we will feel say follow we for effectively deliver on our mandate. But gradually government don't depopulate with organogram. Sort of say we don't establish offices and now the regions, even though now for staff than they did for now. But there are at least people that get outside and go for call. And if anything happen in terms of assessment and of course for good risk reduction activities, you're gonna Bo now we get regional office there. You're gonna Kenema, we get regional office there. You're gonna Pokloko, we get also in Makeni. Those are the places, the headquarter offices will guide down at the regions, and that we hope with time we will for improve at district level. And in addition to that, we also going to establish chiefdom disaster committees, disaster management committees. We will establish them across. Also, we'll get the councillors, the chiefs, all the members, of them committees, and of course also we're able to establish regional disaster management committee. We also get the resident ministers, the honorable members of parliament, and then constituency, and the chiefdom speakers and all, then stakeholders and so then able for meet regularly and determine, which kind of bylaws and we institute at a local level for make sure say they able for manage the hazards them in the event of a disaster, what them for do. And at some point, if you go beyond the level, draw your attention and we go intervene. So that's not something we have to continue this 2023. We also have to continue for engage with partners for let them continue for support we, especially for focus on the coastal communities. Last year we visited 4 coastal communities in the country, Tumbo, Shenge, Yeliboya, and Tumbo. We visit them 4 areas a day, and we do some great job, really. We train some local people on how they were able to manage and sea level rise, how they were able to manage them, banders them, the type of equipment for use, and in fact, if there's a fire, how they were able to pull and put out them fires, and they based on the various categories of fires, and we train them for that. Last time we hope for continue for do more orient trainings in other areas in the country, and we continuously want for ensure say we able to get the required support for able to respond, because we respond to impact over 50,000 population as Sierra Leone. Since the inception of this institution, we don't impact more than 50,000 people. Anytime we get disaster, we dey go do assessment and we dey respond to them people and most of them people now we dey go meet them as far as Kubola, as far as Yeliboya, as far as Sama Bendugu, all of those places we've been to for go respond to people, and we go give them rest, we give them oil, blankets, plenty relief items. And in fact, there are some we na direct cash transfer we can give them. You understand? Because if not like them business destroy and their livelihood normally na direct cash transfer we can give them. You understand? For let them start then start up capital for let them able for continue for live and survive with them picking. So that then they don't impact more than 50,000 population as Sierra Leone. All over this country we've been to. So now here we hope say we'll continue and we go on for appeal to partners and for let them able for continuously the support we, because we White House, you understand, don't go down, because most of the items are from 2017 donations we come inside, and then dated today all they use for respond to incident that will happen where they will call. So we hope that in 2023 we all go for work together. Then lastly, we want for appeal to members of the public. We have been issuing out press releases, advisories, precautionary measures and all of that in our press releases, in our radio and TV engagements. We don't do jingles. We don't do plenty communication, strategies for make sure say people are able for understand the dangers about the things that we do around them and most of the activities that they can indulge in. But in the absence of them accepting for adhere to most of the things that we can tell them, it will appear as if we are not doing anything. So we rely on the public for make sure say they take and let them be able to adapt some measures them within their own houses. Let them know how to behave. Not call fake electrician for can wire your house. Not do electricity abstraction, not thief light. Not go connect direct from the pole. And you go connect the naked wire this, you go tie plastic panel. It leads to fire. Not cook inside your house. These are basic messages we'll be sending out to the public. But always they are very reluctant to listen. This is a major challenge, and we can only succeed in achieving or reducing the occurrence of the incident there if people adhere. So we continue for beg and appeal to members of the public for lay themselves help we minimize the occurrence of them incident there. We mostly it can destroy properties them, and in some instances it can also take some lives. We are really pathetic for those who lost any Sierra Leonean in such a manner based on we own actions.
From Sarah Fox Media, Ishak Mohamed Tijan, the report.